My first line was called Fresh Nez. Nez because my name's Inez, but fresh, I was always into anything fresh. But I would go into thrift stores, take apart or find garments that are like, you know, thrifted and cheap that have cool print, take it apart and turn it into head wraps and turbans. That's really how I started everything. It was my first summer here in New York, and I was working for a high-end designer, and I was fresh out of school. A lot of that spirit of me wanting to be a designer or doing it myself was in me. So I went ahead and I went to thrift stores because, you know, I didn't have money at the time, but I went to thrift stores and I would find really cool prints or really cool colors of like t-shirts or jackets. They were like $3, and I'd take it and I'd cut it up, and then at that time I was like subletting like an apartment, and I borrowed their sewing machine that belonged to the little girl who lived there, and I cut up all the thrifted stuff, and then I started sewing. But at that time, I really wanted a turban, so I started designing it and making it, and I developed it into the 3-in-1 piece. And I found a Brooklyn like pop-up market, and I just did it for like a whole month on the weekends, where I just sew these thrifted one-of-a-kind turbans and head wraps and just would sell it. And then I didn't realize it did really well. And I did an Etsy at that time, and it did really well. It started to be like a year into it. I realized I couldn't make 60 turbans. And also I didn't want to just make turbans, I wanted to like evolve into other things. So then I started finding a local manufacturer or a local factory here in New York. This is my package. This is it.
What is it?
Finally here.
What is it?
It's my fabric that I ordered. I was so scared because it got redirected so many times because it went to the wrong address. And if I didn't get this, like spring and summer wouldn't happen.
Where is it coming from?
This one's coming from Japan. So it's special print and fabric from Japan. I was so scared. I would have like spent so much money.
Yay.
Anyways, so we're here waiting for my production coordinator, who is also a mentor to me. So when I first started, you know, the first product for EZ Threadz, it was really the turban, right? But the turban transformed into different things. But other than, you know, fun creative process for me, it was really, I wanted to give confidence to every consumer who wears it. I wanted to give them options to, you know, for self-expression, but it's really about the versatility and the confidence, and that's just a spirit that I want to keep throughout all of my process of designing. When you start working on a bigger scale, it's just like you have to really be so nitpicky with the tiniest detail and like remind everyone that you're working with a million times, even if they're annoyed, just to make sure that they know, because otherwise you're like wasting like thousands of dollars.
I mean, what made you choose to go to the New York factory where it costs so much more than something that could be produced overseas?
Well, me choosing like locally still. One, it's not like I'm creating like thousands of products yet, but creatively I could still be creative. But also me knowing that I'm like helping out, you know, New York and in the manufacturing like industry here, and even just being like cool with a lot of everyone working here, you know, it's more of like a closer family environment. I'd rather have that sort of connection with them, especially in the beginning, and being able to work things out with them, than just like put all my cards in and just go overseas right away, you know? But it's also just knowing that I'm helping, we're all helping each other, you know? A lot of my experiences in fashion business and seeing who's running it are all male. And with my experiences, I've had a lot of really like ignorant experiences with them. Experienced a lot of like misogyny. I'm not trying to be like too crazy about it, but really like that's real. It's sad. From high end to streetwear, all of it.
Did it ever make you question your desire to continue being a part of this industry?
Yeah, I questioned it a lot. Cause I'm not gonna lie, like it'll be so tight to be like an example of an Asian American woman in the art realm, but in business realm, but finding a different frequency or pathway of like making business work for themselves, not just for money, you know, it's to sustain it, right? But one day that's the goal of it. I never knew really how to operate a company, you know, like I'm an artist. How am I gonna do that? There was a lot of self-doubt in marketing because that wasn't my forte. So much self-doubt in, you know, production and costing and merchandising, you know, or that tying into, will my product, you know, make sense for the masses? And you have to use all of those components that I just said to be able to actually sell it to sustain yourself. So that's where all like, you know, the doubt and the hesitance, and also finance, well, like finance, huge. That's where a lot of the scary hesitance and doubting happened, because that was a whole other, to me, person than myself, you know, because I knew myself to be an artist and I was, you know, proud that I was, but you know, I had to tap into understanding how to be a businesswoman. Advice for any entrepreneur, aspiring entrepreneur, is first, make sure you're right with yourself, because every decision that you make in the design process, the business aspect, even marketing, you have to be right, you know. It goes to the type of fabric that you have, how it's going to affect the planet. You know, you got to be conscious with what you do. Also, it's okay to risk, because sometimes you need to have little studies or experiments with what works and what doesn't work. That's part of the process. So don't look at it like, oh God, like that didn't work out, like I'm bad at what I do. No, it's really a stepping stone for being better at what you do.
So Inez, do you see yourself going overseas eventually as your brand grows?
Probably, yeah. If I have to. Did that just like kill everything that I represent in the episode?
Here.
I hope not. Oh my God.